Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadyasya yato anvayaditaratascha artheshu abhigyaswarat Tene Brahmahridaya Adikavaye Muhyanti yat surayah Tejo vari mridam yatha vinimayo yatratra sargo mrisha Dhamna swena sada nirastakuhakam satyam param dhimahi Nigamakalpataror galitam phalam shukamukad amritadrava sanyutam Pibata Bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha. We now enter the 22nd chapter of the 10th Skandha of Bhagavatam. We saw in the last chapter the most beautiful glorification of Krishna playing the flute by the Gopis. We see that the Gopi girls, the Gopis, are completely in love with Krishna, seeing him as their beloved and wanting him to be their consort and glorifying every single aspect of Krishna's pastime and every single thing associated with Krishna. We now continue in the next chapter. Shukha Brahma Rishi now says these gopis, they want Krishna to be their husband. So they engage in a beautiful prayer. So we saw that it was the autumn month when Krishna played the flute and it was so beautiful. And then the winter comes, the what is called the Hemanta Ritu. And in the winter, the first month is called Margasirsha. And in this Margasirsha month, it's a very auspicious month. In Bhagavad Gita too, Krishna says, Masana Maham Margasirsha. Margasirsha is the most auspicious month for all spiritual activities. It comes in the month of December in the current calendar. And this month is the most auspicious month. Even now, it is celebrated very widely with various spiritual activities, festivals, music, dance, all glorifying the Lord. So this Hemanta Ritu, this Margashirsha month comes and the gopis are engaged in the prayer to have Krishna as their consort. So it says, Shukha Brahma Rishi begins this chapter. He says, Hemante Prathame Masi Nandavrija Kumarika Cherur Havishyam Bunjana Katyayani Archana Vratam. So in the first month of Hemanta, which is Margasirsha, in the first month of winter, that is as we said in the December, which is coming soon, in this time, the maids of Vrija, Nanda Vrija Kumarikaha. So the Vrija Kumarika, the maids, the gopis of Vrija, ruled by Nanda, they observed a vow for Katyayani and they subsisted only on food offered as yajna. So Katyayani is the name for Yogamaya. As we saw in the beginning of Krishna's descent, Krishna sends Yogamaya before him to be born, to first transplant Balaram to Rohini, and then to be born to Yashoda, and then there is a switcheroo, after which when Kamsa tries to kill Yogamaya, she of course reveals her divine form and tells him that your true end is by this boy who is born elsewhere, and she vanishes. And Krishna, before even sending Yogamaya, says, you shall be worshipped by everyone in various names such as Bhadrakali, Vaishnavi, Narayani, Durga, and so on. So that Yogamaya, who is also Mahamaya for those who are bewildered. So she has two forms. Yogamaya is the divine form for those who are surrendered to the Lord. And for those who are not surrendered, she appears as Mahamaya, which bewilders and results in suffering and destruction. So for Kamsa, she is Mahamaya, and for the Gopi, she is Yogamaya. And she is called interchangeably. So here, Shukha Brahma Rishi says that this Yogamaya, who is also Mahamaya, Katyayani, she is the divine mother and she is worshipped by these gopis in the beginning of Margasirsha month in order to have Krishna as their consort. So they take the dip in the cold waters of Yamuna, Kalindi, every morning. So every morning, early morning at daybreak, as dawn comes, when the sun is about to rise, they all gather together, call each other, they all go to the river bank of Yamuna and they worship the mother goddess there with various paraphernalia such as fragrant flowers and coconut and incense and lights and so on. First, taking a dip in the waters of Yamuna, in the cold waters. As we can imagine, in December it's very cold, and so they observe this very sacred vow where they first take a dip in the cold Yamuna waters, and then they worship the mother, divine mother, with all these paraphernalia, and then they offer fruits and so on, and then they take that as prasad. And then their worship is very simple. They say, O Mother Katyayani, you are the great deluding potency of the Lord, you are the great repository of all yogic powers, you control the whole universe. You please make Nandagopa, the son of Nandagopa, that is the son of Nanda, our husband. So the prayer is very beautiful. They say, Katyayani Mahamaye, Mahayogini Adhishwari, Nandagopa Sutam Devi, Patim me Kurute Namah. So Nandagopa Sutam, this Krishna, is the son of Nandagopa. Patim me Kuru, make him our husband, O Devi. So this is their simple prayer to the mother Yogamaya, that may Krishna be our husband. So every one of the gopis desire the same, and because Krishna is the supreme being, he is desired by all the gopis as their husband. So here an important thing to recognize is that the principle of devotion of the gopis is the highest form of surrender. And the surrender of the gopis is giving up the entire sense of ego, so that only Krishna, the supreme being, is the only truth, and everything is completely surrendered unto him. There is a beautiful episode in the life of Meera too, where when Meera goes to Vrindavan, the great saint Meera, and she goes to the ashram of a saint, it is the saint's disciples tell her that our guru does not see women, and then she very innocently asks, but I thought in Vrindavan the only man is Krishna and every one of us is his consort. And hearing this, the disciples go tell their guru, and the guru comes running to fall at her feet, it is said. So the principle that Meera also demonstrates is that everyone is a consort of Krishna, because everyone rises from Krishna. All the entire material energy called Prakriti is rising from Krishna, and therefore it is the consort of the Purusha who is the only husband of all this material energy. And since everybody and everyone's mind, every being, inanimate and animate, are all rising out of this material energy, everyone's consort is truly Krishna alone, and to recognize this is the highest sense of surrender, and that is what the gopis represent here. And therefore, when the gopis go, we shall see that the only dress we wear to hide ourselves from surrendering fully is the ego. So the embodied being, the jiva, wears the dress called I, the ego, in order to shield from the supreme being, and that is the very dress that one has to shed in order to recognize the supreme being. So that is the beautiful mystical meaning of this whole chapter, as we shall see. So the gopis are engaged in this beautiful prayer to the mother, and they say, as we said, Nandagopa Sutam Devi Patim me Kurute Namah. Please make Nandagopa, the son of Nandagopa, that is Krishna, our husband. And in this way, with their mind fixed, they engaged in this vow for the whole month and praying to the mother Bhadrakali. It says, Evam Masam Vratam Cheruh Kumariyah Krishna Chetasah Bhadrakalim Samanarchur Bhuya Nandasutah Patihi. So they want Nandasuta, the son of Nanda, as their husband, and with this intent they prayed to Mother Bhadrakali for the whole month, keeping this vow. And their simple prayer was to rise early in the morning, calling by name all the girls, taking them all together, clasping each other's hands, singing Krishna's glory, going to the waters of Yamuna, take a bath together, in the cold waters of Yamuna, come out, offer worship to the mother, and say this prayer, Nanda Gopa Sutam Devi Patimme Kurute Namah. Make Nanda Gopa's son our husband. So this beautiful pastime is enacted wonderfully by also Goda Devi, also called Andal, who is an Alvar in Tamil. So much later, when Goda Devi, who was born to the great Vishnu Chittar called Periyalvar, she exactly enacts the same pastime through her beautiful work called Tiruppavai. In Tiruppavai, she has made 30 verses, every verse to be sung every single day in this exact month of Margashirsha called Margari. And in this month, she sings one verse a day with the exact intent of calling all the girls of Vrindavan to go along with her to the banks of Yamuna and thereby to engage in this beautiful prayer. And she in fact uses the exact words of Bhagavatam too by referring to this word Nanda Gopa's son. So the very first verse, if we see, beautiful Tamil here, Andal or Goda Devi says, Margarit Tingal Madinirainda Nannalal Neerada Poduveer Podumino Nerilayir Seermalgum Ayappadi Selvach Chirmeerhal Kurvel Koduntholilan Nandagopan Kumaran ஏறார்ந்த கண்ணி யசோத இளஞ்சிங்கம் கார்மேனி செங்கன் கதிர்மதியம் போல் முகத்தான் நாராயணனே நமக்கே பறை தருவான் பாரோர் புகழப் படிந்தேலோர் எம்பாவாய். So this is the first verse of this beautiful work of 30 verses, one verse to be sung every day in the month of Margasirsha with the exact same words. Even she says Nandagopan Kumaran, which is what the gopis say here, Nandagopa Sutam Devi, and to have Nandagopa's son Krishna as their consort, the gopis sing this song, which is mirrored by the most blessed Goda Devi, Andal, in Tamil, in this work of 30 verses. So, continuing this prayer, these wonderful women, these Kumarikas, it is said, the young girls, that's why even Andal says Sirumeergal in Tamil, it means the exact same meaning, young girls who are about to get married and they are all interested in having Krishna as their consort. So the outer meaning is the extreme conjugal love of each one of them for Krishna, and the inner symbolism, as we already saw, is the total self-surrender of ego to Krishna, the Supreme Being. And both are simultaneously true. So it is said that in this way, just as Andal has done for 30 verses for 30 days, these gopis, in fact, she mirrored only these gopis. So she is reflecting what the gopis have done. So the gopis here, Shukha Brahma Rishi says, they went every day for 30 days saying this prayer in different ways. And then at the end of the 30th day, it was the full moon day. And they similarly left their clothes on the banks of the river and they, glorifying Krishna, were sporting in the water. So now Krishna is there and he is aware of their prayer and he wants to bestow them with his blessing. So on the last day, which is the full moon day, Krishna appears there, and in order to bestow them with his blessing, he does a wonderful pastime. He goes there, he takes away all their clothes. So all the clothes are left on the banks of the river and these girls are swimming in the river, glorifying Krishna in the cold waters. So Krishna takes away all the clothes and then he climbs up a beautiful Kadamba tree there. And then from there he says to the girls, O girls of Vrindavan, come out and receive your clothes. Once you do that, your vow will be complete. Come one by one and get your clothes, or you can come together as well. So here what Krishna is saying is, in order to realize the Supreme Being, one has to be completely naked, which is to shed all attachment, to shed all sense of ego, to shed every single attachment of any kind. Therefore, Krishna tests them by saying, if you are truly surrendered, come out and take your clothes from me. So the gopis are hesitant, of course. They think the Lord is joking. but they are also overwhelmed with love, because this has been their prayer for all 30 days. They have been praying to the mother that the Supreme Being, Krishna, be their husband. And so now he has come to bestow his blessing on them, and he says, but you have to come here and take the clothes from me. They are, of course, abashed to see each other because they are shy. At the same time, they are also very overwhelmed with love because they see their object of love, Krishna, right there. And he's saying, come out. And so now, because Krishna has remarked thus, their mind is full of rapture. At the same time, they are also shivering in the cold water. And so they plead with him, oh Krishna, please do not do this to us. We know that you are the beloved son of Nanda and you are praised all over. Here we are shivering with cold, so please return our clothes. O beautiful Krishna, one with wonderful appearance, please be kind to us and give back our clothes. So this is what they are pleading. They say, beautiful verse here, Shama Sundara te dasyah karavama tavoditam. Shama Sundara means the most beautiful form. Sundara is most beautiful. Shama Sundara, or the one who looks most beautiful like a cloud. We are your eternal servants and we are always ready to do your bidding. Te dasya karavama tavoditam. Therefore, give our clothes. Dehi vasamsi dharmagya. So they say, please give our clothes too, so that we can come out. So they are still a little hesitant. So what this symbolizes is, even when one is fully surrendered, the last attachment is the sense of I that one holds on to. And in this way, the gopis are also, this is symbolized by their hesitation to come without their clothes. So because if the gopis take him to be their husband, then it is only appropriate that they go without any cloth on them to see the husband. Similarly, if we truly surrender to Supreme Being, it is only appropriate that we shed any attachment, including the last attachment of I, to truly behold the Supreme Being as our true self. So this is what this symbolizes. So therefore, they have this last hesitation, and Krishna tells them, therefore he says, if you are truly my servants and if you truly will do my bidding, then come and take these clothes from me. So he says, bhavatyo yadime dasyo mayo uktam va karishyata. If you truly say you are my servants, then come and take your clothes from me. I'm here. You have to just come out of the water. So because they are in water, they are in neck deep water, it's very cold, shivering. And if they come out, they are without any clothes and their clothes are all with Krishna. So they are hesitant naturally as shy girls to come out without any clothes. And Krishna is testing them by saying, what is your surrender? If you say you are totally surrendered, you want me as your husband, then you ought to do my bidding and do this say. So this is the demand of the Lord. Even in the most esoteric sense, if we claim to be surrendered, then we have to let go of all attachment. We cannot hold on to any attachment and then also claim to have surrendered to the Lord. So if you truly say, I am surrendered unto you, then everything has to be ready to be offered to Him. And so that is what is symbolized by this episode. Krishna says, if you truly are my servant, then what is your hesitation in coming out and taking your clothes from me? What is your hesitation in coming out of the waters naked? Because that is the hesitation symbolizing the need for us to hold on to some attachment, wearing some attachment to cover our false sense of ego and not ready to be naked in front of the Lord. So that is why they do this, symbolizing this, but it is also at the level of the pastime also it is true. So in both senses it is true. The symbolic truth of being ready to be naked of one's ego in front of the Lord, and the actual episode of having this beautiful madhurya rasa, this love of the beloved, Krishna as the husband, and therefore being ready to completely surrender everything unto him. Both are true. So in this way, Krishna says, come out. So finally, they realize that we have to surrender. This is what we have prayed for the whole month, to have Krishna as our husband. And now he is here, he is looking so bewitching, so beautiful. He's got all the clothes on his shoulder, and if we have to go and listen to him. So in this way, they realize that they have to let go of their last attachment in order to fulfill their own prayer to the Divine Mother. And therefore they come out, and they try to cover themselves with their hands. But Krishna says, if you are truly surrendered, fold your hands and not try to be covering anything. So this is again symbolizing the last bit of attachment with which we hold on to some little thing. So that's what this symbolizes too. But even in the actual sense, it is important for them to be seeing Krishna as their husband in the fullest sense. And when they are ready to do that, then Krishna is very pleased. So he says, "O ladies, you have done exactly what is meant to be done, and therefore your prayer is fully satisfied." And they were also extremely happy, every one of them. They realized that now they are free. They have completely surrendered unto him. That last bit of attachment has been taken away. And just as it is appropriate to be in front of one's husband, they have given them completely to Krishna, who has stolen away all their clothes, and therefore they did not find any fault with his behavior. In fact, they were highly gratified to be in the company of their beloved Lord. Then he gave back their clothes, and then they put on their clothes, and then they had the most beautiful looks, bashful looks with which they saw Krishna. They didn't want to move from there. They just looked at him with eyes full of love. And Krishna, who is Damodara, spoke to them with such grace. It says, Tasam Vijnaya Bhagavan Swapada Sparshakamyaya Dhritavritanam Sankalpam Aha Damodaro Abalaha. Damodara, who is Krishna, the enchanting form of Damodara as the child he was. This Damodara spoke to Abala, these innocent women, and he knows that their very desire is to be in complete union with him at all levels. So Krishna says, "O beautiful chaste girls, your desire in the shape of eagerness to worship me and to be one with me is completely known, and it has been approved by me. And your desire is not material at all, it's transcendental, because the desire for the gopis to be one with Krishna is the desire for the ego to shed itself and realize the oneness with the Supreme Being. And therefore, it is the highest transcendental desire, the most natural constitutional position of one to recognize one's truth as the Supreme Being. That is what the gopis represent, and therefore Krishna says, your desire is transcendental and it is fully approved, and it will be completely consummated in the next autumn. So this is the blessing Krishna gives. So now they have been accepted by Krishna when they came out of the waters, shivering but letting go of their shyness and being able to completely therefore surrender without any other thought whatsoever, including the thought of shyness. And because of this pure, innocent, total surrender of the gopis, Krishna is very gratified, and he says, "O chaste, innocent gopis, every one of you is so pure hearted. You have demonstrated to the world your purity of surrender. Now this shall be completely consummated in the next autumn." So this is Margashirsha, as we said, the winter. So in the next year, when the autumn comes, there will be the most glorious Rasa Leela, the wonderful dance of Krishna with all the gopis on the full moon night of autumn, the Sharad Purnima, which will come subsequently in a few episodes, consummating the total union of the gopis with Krishna. But here Krishna blesses them that your purpose is accomplished. You will sport with me in the coming autumn on the full moon night. And in this way, your vow in front of the mother goddess will be completely consummated. So this is why Sharad Purnima, the full moon of autumn, is so auspicious, because that represents the complete union of the individual self with the Supreme Being, represented by the gopis becoming one with Krishna in the dance of Rasa Leela. So, giving them this blessing, this episode of stealing the clothes of the gopis. And so, this is the most mystical episode of Bhagavatam among a few like this. When we enter Madhurya Rasa, as we said initially, we saw the friendly friendship Sakya Rasa and then the paternal Vatsalya Rasa. They are all very sweet, but this is the most mystical and the most intimate sense of loving surrender, which began with the last episode of Gopis glorifying Krishna's form and his play of flute. And now we see it going to the next level of Gopis completely surrendering their every sense of being, even the sense of shame. They let go of everything to fully surrender, representing the complete naked surrender of the ego to the Supreme Being. And in this way, their purpose is accomplished, their prayer to the mother is accomplished. This is the secret of the whole prayer of the gopis, the whole prayer of Tirupavai as well, the whole prayer of everyone who prays in Marga Shirsha to be one with Krishna. And that is why this month is considered so sacred, because this prayer was done by the gopis every single day. And the end of the month, the last day, full moon, Krishna enacted this most wonderful pastime and accepted them and blessed them that the coming autumn full moon, it will be consummated in the dance of Rasa Leela. So after this, Krishna goes away, this pastime ends, and then it is said that Krishna is accompanied now by the boys of Vrindavan along with Balaram, and they go, and now now the time is rolling by, and again it's become hot, winter is over, and the sun is scorching now again, spring is over, summer is coming. And so Krishna takes shelter under the trees there, and then he glorifies the tree. So this is also very beautiful verse on how to live. He shows the example of trees and he says, "Oh friends, look at this tree, how enviable is the birth of a tree, because it is simply acting as a means of subsistence for everyone. It is protecting everyone from all kinds of elements, whether it be storm or showers or sunshine, and it is simply living for the sake of others." He says, "Pashyata etan mahabhagan parartairka anta jivitan vata varsha tapa mahiman sahanto varayantinah." So whatever it is, whether it's heat or rain or storm, whatever is, one can go under a tree and get refuge. The tree gives not only that, it gives, he says, patra pushpa phala chaya mula valka darubihi. It says it gives leaves, it gives pushpa flowers, it gives fruits, it gives shadow, it gives roots, it gives bulbs. Every single thing that the tree gives is used by us, and therefore he says this is the essence of life, this is the very purpose of living. He says, "Etavat janma saphalyam dehinamiha dehishu pranair artair diya vacha shreya eva acharet sada." So he says this is the example for everyone. You have to live with your life, with your wealth, with your intelligence, with your speech only for service. He says this is janma saphalyam. The purpose of life is to live for others and use one's life energy, one's wealth, one's intelligence, one's speech, all in the service of others, and thus one's life is fulfilled. So this is the highest teaching of Bhagavatam that Krishna himself gives here. If one is desiring anything, including desiring enlightenment, then there is still the ego involved. But one, when completely surrenders and then engages oneself only in service, then one's life's purpose is realized. So that's why he says Janma Saphalyam. The very purpose of life is realized by being in this mood of service, in unconditional love for others, and engaging every sense of our being for the service of others. And he says, take the example of trees for this. And that's why the trees are always glorified, and so is Mother Cow, because cow also similarly gives everything for the service of others, as we already saw. And therefore, the Mother Earth also similarly putting up with everything and simply remaining tolerant of whatever happens, Mother Cow, and trees. These are all great examples for us on how to live life in the service of others. And therefore, Krishna himself here says this is the purpose of life, Janma Saphalyam. So after glorifying the trees, they all go to Yamuna, and then the cows drink water. And then the boys now say, we are all hungry, Krishna. We are all hungry, Balaram. Please do something for this. So now, because of this hunger, a most beautiful pastime will unfold, which we shall see in the next episode. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.